Hey, Clark Griswold, are you ready to light up your city and give them more holiday cheer, but you just don't have enough leads? Well, let's talk about today about how you get more leads for your Christmas light installation company. So there's multiple ways to get leads. You can get them from Facebook, whether by ads or posting in Facebook groups, or from Google search, which can involve paid ads, the map section, or organically the rankings below that. And so let's talk about what gets you leads the fastest. So the fastest way to get leads is going to be by doing either Facebook ads or Google ads. And there's two different sides of this. So let's first break it down. Facebook ads are going to be for people that have never heard your service. So it's much colder of a lead. They're going to be like, wow, that looks awesome. I want to have a house like Clark Griswold here. Or, well, a little bit more professional than that. But you're trying to stir up the idea of someone to get Christmas light installation. You could also post in Facebook groups as well and get people interested in it based upon seeing what their neighbors' houses look like. For instance, that is on the cold side, but on the warm side, where people are actively looking for your services, we're going to be talking about Google Ads for that. So Google Ads is where you pay per click. And so you would basically bid on keywords such as Christmas light installation company, and your ad comes to the top. There's usually about 4 spots at the top before you have the map section or the organic section below that. And so when you pay per click, that means maybe say 4, 5, 6 people click on your ad, one person will call you or fill out a form. And so you have to have call tracking and form tracking in place to optimize your Google Ads campaigns. But Google Ads is going to give you those instant results. Now, long term, as far as getting more leads out of your website, you would want to do search engine optimization. And that is where you're optimizing your site for content to revolve around Christmas light installation and the cities that you service. And all of that content builds up relevancy for your website to rank you higher in search results and on the map section. So it's kind of twofold when you do SEO. Now, SEO does take longer to get leads. It's not going to be instant like Google ads or Facebook ads would be. And so I would recommend that you start SEO, say, about 6 months before your season, but you need to run it throughout the year. If you just do one and done, where you just make a bunch of content and post it, get a bunch of backlinks and then stop, it doesn't look like you're continually doing it. And so you're either going to lose rankings from Google side because of that big spike and then stopping doing any new work, or because your competitors are continuing to do it year round. And then that's what's going to make them overtake you again. And so that's a long-term approach. It can be done. But if you're instantly wanting leads and you want the hottest leads possible, let's talk about Google Ads. Google Ads is where you're going to get the hottest leads, the best leads. But let's talk about timing, when it should happen, things like that. So first off, you have the volume. The volume that happens is going to be different depending on the time of year. So for instance, it may have a few leads in the springtime. It might trickle in throughout the summer, and then it starts picking up in September through the end of October, and then it's just pouring down leads in November. And that's where the most volume is going to be in almost every city, because honestly, that's when people are thinking about Christmas time. And it's going to build up all the way till Thanksgiving. And then a little bit after Black Friday, I call this the time frame where the jealous neighbors start asking for a quote. They might be less likely to do it because it is a shorter time frame that they'll have their lights on, or maybe you can't get them on your schedule as well. So the busiest time frame is November. Now, the thing is how many leads will you get? That's going to depend on your city. If your city only has 300,000 people, it's probably not going to be much. 500,000 people, a little bit more. 1 million people, a lot more leads. Now, how many leads you get is going to depend on your service area. Like, are you a 30-mile radius? Are you a 60-mile radius? How many counties are you servicing? All of those factors go into how many leads you can get for your business. And then how much volume you get based on the time of season, that can also be dependent on how well people know of the services. And so that's where posting on Facebook can help drive some more engagement on Google Ads, because it kind of gets that idea in people's heads like, hey, I should be thinking about Google, or I should be thinking about Christmas light installation. Maybe I'll just Google it. I can't remember who they were on Facebook. And so that can also help. So if you're going to run Facebook ads, you're going to want to run Google ads too, because if someone forgets your name or doesn't contact you on Facebook ads, that's when you're going to want to pick up those extra leads on Google ads. And they are much warmer, meaning you might have to take, say, 5 leads on Facebook compared to 2 leads on Google ads to get, one job, or maybe it's 10, but it really just depends. Or get one good quote, I meant to say, because it can take many many leads to get a good job, depending on how well you close the services, how well people are familiar with the pricing as well. So let's talk about targeting when you're targeting areas. So when you're thinking of an area you want to target, a lot of people think, oh, I need to just target the high income areas or the bigger homes, things like that. Well, Google ads and Facebook ads are much different. Facebook ads, they know the Wi-Fi and the IP address of where your house is. Somehow they just have it pinpointed, and my guess is it's from phones, the GPS. They just take all that data. They know the location of your actual phone, not so much the IP address. So they know where you're actually living. Google Ads is based on IP address, and the IP address is the internet protocol. That internet protocol is basically giving a number to your phone based upon the cell tower it came from. So if people are calling for your services or filling out a form for your services Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 12, they're at work. So you have to target a big enough service area to cover where people are working from. So it's not a matter of just where they live, but where they work. And depending on how big your service area is, that's going to determine a little bit more of, like, say, the population and the number of searches that come in. So when running ads, what are some things that you can do to optimize it? So when it comes to Google Ads, the thing is you got to make sure you have a goal in mind. What is your goal of what you want to do? And so, do you want to get a cost per lead at $10, $25, $50, $100? What's realistic? And so it really depends on how it's being run, how much experience you have, and really who's doing it. For instance, we've heard that people that run ads on their own, they've spent $60 to $100 per lead. When we run it, even with our management included, we've typically seen it to be around $50 to maybe up to $60. It really just depends on the area, the competition, how aggressive the client asks us to be as well. But we get more leads. I had an example of someone that came to me and they're like, yeah, I'm getting $55 leads on my own, and he only got 100 leads. And I knew that area could get 300 plus leads. So it's just a matter of how you properly set it up, how to get a higher conversion rate, how do you get things to show up more often but not spend too much more money. And so you need to first have what's your goal and what is reasonable for that goal as well. If you set your goal at, say, I want to get leads for $20, but the area is really competitive and you can't even bid less than $10 to show up, well, you better have a really good conversion rate. And so you have to think of that as well. So set your goal of what you want it to be. And that might be, you just write it down and say, I want my goal to be $50 per lead, or $25, whatever it might be. And then you're going to start optimizing. So the first thing you're going to think about is this: what do I want to get? Well, I want leads. So that means I have to target or have those goals set up in Google Ads. And you're not going to focus on impressions, not going to focus on the clicks. Impressions, the number of searches out there. Don't focus on clicks. I see way too many people think about the clicks. Don't focus on the cost per click. It's about the cost per lead. And so if you're going to try to get say a $30 cost per lead, well, don't focus on a cost per click of $20. Well, you're going to think about, what do I need to do? If I have a conversion rate of 20%, my cost per click needs to be $6. But that's not the focus. That's just a setting that you set up to try to get a $30 lead. And so you need to think about those things before you do it. We see far too many do-it-yourselfers and agencies where they just go, well, I have to bid crazy high because that's just what it takes. No, you've got to think about, what is your end goal? What do you want your cost per lead to be? And that's where you have to back it up and then say, where do I set my cost per click? So your focus is on cost per lead, and then you might set a sub metric of, this is where my cost per click I think should be to hit that goal. Your optimization should also include something along the lines of how often your ads are showing, as far as the search impression share goes, or the click-through rate, the number of clicks you get out of the total number of searches that are out there. Obviously, the cost per lead, as we keep mentioning, and then conversion rate. That's the number of leads you get depending on how many clicks they came in. So if there's 100 clicks and you're getting 20 leads, that's a 20% conversion rate. And so if you want to improve that conversion rate, you have to look at your landing page and you have to figure out, does this landing page look like something that's professional? Is it something that I would convert on if I were the homeowner? You have to think like your client's thinking on what exactly something they would do. And then also think back to your keywords. Are your keywords specific enough? Are they Christmas light installation? Is price working? Is cost working? Is services working? Is company working? Is Christmas light company versus installation? Like, should I use terms without install in it? Should I use more generic terms? Should I use more specific terms? And so you have to think through all of those different optimizations. Typically during the busy season when you're hanging lights, that's when you need to be on your account, honestly, daily. Every day you need to be in your account spending about an hour or so. And so if you don't have time for that and you can't optimize it, that's where you'd want to have an agency that excels in this and has really good performance. At the same time, you have to make sure that agency has experience with it. We've been running ads at Creatively Innovative for Christmas light installation for the past 5 years, and we get thousands of leads every year. And some of our clients do get leads as high as 300 leads in a single season. It really just depends on their area, and we have to figure out, is that a good area? If it's a very rural area, we're probably going to say, sorry, this is just not going to work out. You also have to think about where's your business right now? Are you a first year business for Christmas lights, or are you a fifth year business? And what can I spend, what I want to spend? And then you think about how many referrals will I get out of it. And so marketing can be kind of expensive for Christmas lights, and the reason for that is you may not convert as many as you think you will convert. So if you have 10 leads and you're like, oh, I'm going to close half of them, you might not. You might only close, say, 2 or 3 out of those 10 leads. And the reason is that the price of the ticket is much higher. So the higher the ticket price, the better your unique selling points have to be, and the more convincing you have that this service is going to save you time, energy, it'll give you more joy, it'll give you maybe less likely to get hurt from doing it on your own. So you have to think of all those things and present them in a way that it's not just a price point to your clients. And so when someone comes in and says, hey, can I get a quote for my house? And you're like, okay, this is 200 linear feet. I'm at X dollar amount, let's just say it's $8 a foot, and you're at $1,600 for this house. Here's your price, client. Well, maybe you need to think back. What would I do if I saw that quote? And if I saw it, what would I need to see that's different? I need to see that, they're going to include the timer and then the extension cords, and they're going to come back if a bulb burns out. And, the idea behind not having to climb ladders and how it's custom cut and all of the good, unique stuff. And that's what you put before the quote or before you actually say the price. And then after you send that quote over, you call them up and you review it with them. Or maybe it's the follow-up with the text message, whatever it takes to make sure they actually got it. And then after the job actually closes and you do the job, putting yard signs in that person's yard that says, hey, Christmas lights were hung by whatever your company name is, putting out signs in the nearby area in the neighborhood. You then take the cost of that lead and you divide it in half when you get a referral. Get another lead by a third. And so that extra $2 for a yard sign, $5, I guess, for a full color is going to cut down your total cost for marketing. And so it might look really pricey when you're running Facebook ads or Google ads or even search engine optimization for a whole year. But when it comes down to your total cost to acquire a client, it's going to go much lower once you get referrals. So think long term here. Don't think immediate. And so sometimes in that first year of business, you may not want to do ads with Facebook or Google ads because it could be quite costly for you as you're getting in materials, you're paying for labor, and you're paying for the marketing. All of that can add up. And so you may instead go after a previous client list or friends and family or just posting in Facebook groups without doing the paid side of it. And then year 2, that's when you bring in a marketing agency to do any type. Honestly, if you're doing any type of paid ad in general, I would recommend you bring in a professional because they're going to get you more leads, hopefully for less. I have seen others with agencies spending just as much as if a DIYer did it and getting just as few leads. And so you got to be cautious there too. Sometimes there's agencies that will take on someone in a really small area, but there's just not enough volume for it. And so if you are in a small area, a low population, go with creating demands or demand generation. That's going to be with Facebook ads. If you're in a larger area, you can get hotter leads coming from Google ads, and there'll be a lot more volume as well. So no matter what you do, just think about your business, think about where the cost per lead needs to be at. Always think about how there's a referral as well that you can get out of that new lead and or new job, and keep that all in mind. And then always remarket to these. If someone says no or doesn't say no but doesn't respond, follow up with them. Phone calls, text messages, emails. Follow with them all the way until Black Friday. Honestly, you just don't know when they're going to make a decision. As far as when you start, that's up to you. As far as starting in June, July, August, September, that's up to you on when you want to start handling the leads, when you don't want to start putting it into your CRM and start dripping it out. Some clients that come in the summertime are going to be larger HOAs that are looking for quotes, but it's going to be a longer time to actually commit to spending the money, but they're thinking about it. So you could start earlier. If you start later, just keep in mind that you did miss out on the leads that came in through the summer, and there's that missed opportunity, but you may get people that are a little bit more likely just to close right away. So it's up to you guys on what works for you and for your business. But I hope these tips help. If you ever want to have professional management for Google Ads or SEO, you can reach out to Creatively Innovative at their website, creativelyinnovative.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this video, as we're going to be giving more business tips on our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.